All right, everybody. Hi, it's David Kramer, the Critical Thinking Christian, and I want to make sure that I got my, well, let's see. Yeah, I have my microphone plugged in. But anyway, I had said I was going to make a video on near-death experiences. Uh, that a lot of people have been having or had across over the entire world. Uh, and uh, I guess kind of, what I want to do is ask a question about when I was a Christian. Okay, as a Christian, I believed that if you believed in Jesus the right way, that you went to heaven when you died, and if you didn't, you went to hell. Okay, and in the Bible, according to Jesus Christ, the majority are going to go to hell. Okay, and I saw this article on there. There's a was a priest who in 2016 he had a heart attack and he had a near-death experience where he was in hell. So I was kind of interested in this. I've heard of it before. I've heard of a lot of people that had died and apparently died and had these experiences. I also heard of Christians that had these out-of-body experiences where they were shown hell and they were shown heaven. Some of them completely ridiculous. This one guy, I think his name is Jesse Duplantis. He's a minister, and he was claiming that he went up to heaven on a trolley car that was captained by an angel, and when he got to heaven, he had a mansion there, and in the mansion he had what was it? Oh, claw and ball furniture, and he likes claw and ball furniture, or ball and claw, or whatever the heck it is. Okay. In the 90s, I read a book that did scare me. There was a woman, a Pentecostal charismatic named Mary Kay Baxter, I think her name was, and her vision of hell that she saw was totally very fantastic. A fun house where the demons take you and really torture you, and there was a farmhouse where the devil came out on the porch and his horns reached all the way up to through the earth. So back then that kind of scared me, but I wanted to kind of just go over some of this stuff here about these near-death experiences. Now, in a lot of these you're replaying life events, kind of like going back over your life. And I've heard of that. I think we've all heard of that, where people will, on their deathbed, will relive their life, which, yeah, that can be a bit regretful if you had opportunities and you saw opportunities where you could have taken a different path and you decided to just go. That can be regretful. Okay, people report leaving their body. I was watching a video, I forget what the doctor's name was, and he was saying that he was in the hospital. There was a woman who was brought in who had overdosed, and she was unconscious, and he was in the cafeteria eating, and he had, I guess, spaghetti, and when the page came over for him to come to the room, he got spaghetti sauce. He was startled, and he got spaghetti sauce on his tie, so he put a lab coat over it and went into the room, and then he said he went down the hall to talk to her roommate, which I was thinking, okay. And the next day, when he came into the room, he started identifying himself. She said, "Yes, I know who you are." I saw you talking to my roommate. And she said, you have a red stain on your tie. Okay, so his mind was boggled right there, and that he got into, I think he wrote a book about it. But, it's strange stuff. I know my mom, when she was in the hospital, they put her out. They gave her anesthesia, and she claimed she left her body, and she was looking down as they were working on her. I think they were working on her knee. So people, all of them, I guess, report that. So that's not okay. Many see tunnels and lights. Some saw. I heard of instances where they saw tunnels that were just full of light and comforting, and some were terrifying and full of fire. Some are oddly calm. They speak of benevolence, love, caring, just calmness. Okay. A small number. Okay, now this is one of the things I want to talk about. A small number of these experiences are negative, which means the vast majority are positive, which flies in the face of what Jesus said in the Bible and in the Gospels, where he said that the majority is going into destruction. In other words, a majority will burn in hell. Okay? So that there is, you could say, totally opposite of what is taught in Christian scripture. Now, Christians will say, well, those that are positive are probably the ones where they go to, those people are going to hell because that's a deception of the devil. And, okay, that's a deception of the devil. Which devil are you talking about? Okay, if it's the Christian devil, yeah. If it's the devil in the New Testament, that guy don't exist. That guy is totally opposite. Okay, so it could be a unique state of consciousness. Nobody really knows. The experiences, they have heightened experiences of sight, smell, sound. They see colors that are not present here with us that we can see. So they're I was thinking, of the priest. Some report encountering relatives. Now, my great-grandmother, when she died, she saw her mom and dad, and she saw a dove descending. Now, the dove descending would be like in the Bible when Jesus was baptized by John. A dove descended, which is supposedly, I forget what you call that. It's symbolic of the Holy Spirit. But yes, there are people that do, see that. Now, there was a man in the one home when my mom was younger. She worked in a rest home, and there was a guy who was dying, who was scared because the devil was after him. Okay, and that's the thing about fear. Fear and what do you want to call it? Ecstasy, if can make you experience certain things. Fear, most of what we're scared of, okay, what we fear is total bullshit. Okay? I'm afraid to, I don't know, I got a project that I want to do, and I don't know how to do it, so I'm kind of a little afraid of doing it and all that stuff. And then you get into doing it, and you do it, and boom, wow, okay, that wasn't, you're afraid of speaking your mind. But fear at a heightened sense, I don't know. I never was completely terrified. That can cause problems, just like ecstasy. If it's exhilaration, if it's at a heightened, you can experience certain physical things that happen. So, mentally, what goes on during that? I mean, you don't know. They're non-human entities, and like I said in this one, the majority are actually positive. So you meet benevolent, kind, caring entities that give you, advice. And there's another thing. Now, low oxygen might be the cause of near-death experiences, but only sometimes. They can be shared, which is weird. But my thing. Let's go over to see the priest here. Okay. Now, this priest, claims that when he had the heart attack, he went down a tunnel into hell, and he saw a man walking on all fours like a dog and getting burned from head to toe. His eyes were bulging, and worse than that, he was wearing chains on his neck. He was like a hellhound, and there was a demon holding the chains. He heard Rihanna's Umbrella and Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy, traditional upbeat tunes, and only this time the demons were singing to torture the people. Now, I don't know if I said this, but there's talk of hell and the lake of fire in the New Testament that there's no indication of demons in hell. If this thing does exist, what I from what I read and what I believed is they're not in hell. They're going into hell. Okay? The rich man and Lazarus. When both of them died, Lazarus went to paradise and the rich man went to hell and was tormented in fire. Nowhere did it say demons. Whenever I hear people say, oh, the demons in hell, I think, how old are you? What, 8? Because it sounds childish, okay? Now, this priest, who is a clergy, supposedly a man of God, what did he learn from this experience? Did he learn anything profound that he can come back and tell his parishioners, listen, if we're doing this, we need to stop this, and we need to do this because this is what I was taught from this experience by this entity. Okay? No. The only thing that he said, Johnson says, his hellacious near-death experience made him realize he needed to forgive people who had wronged him instead of hoping for their punishment. That's it. Now, that's his thoughts. That's his ideas. Okay? This is what I think they're trying to tell me. Well, I'm sorry, but if you didn't get anything, if they didn't give you instruction, then don't make shit up, Christian. Okay? I mean, what happens to our brain when we die? They believe, researchers, especially those from the International Association for Near-Death Studies, believe near-death experiences most likely happen due to a change in blood flow to the brain during life-threatening events like a heart attack, blunt trauma, shock. I mean, that woman that was had a drug, was it? Yeah, what do you call that? I can't think of that. Man, don't you hate that? Our brain, oh man, she had an overdose. Yes, I caught it. I threw a net over it. Okay, as your brain starts losing blood and oxygen, the electrical activity within the brain begins to power down. Like a town that loses power one neighborhood at a time, local regions of the brain go offline one after another. Okay, maybe. During a near-death experience, your mind is left to keep working, but without its normal operational parameters. Whether simply an oxygen shortage, some sort of anesthesia. Now, my mom had anesthesia when she had that out-of-body experience, or a neurochemical response to trauma, as hypothesized. The near-death experience leaves those who experience it with real, sometimes traumatic memory. We may not know how that memory happened, and unlike Johnson and his trip to hell, victims may not want to recount it ever again, but it could change their life. Okay, now, we don't know. Um, and that's one of the things about the Bible. I heard people talking about it, like atheists talking about it, and in the Bible, you got a lot of crap in there that, as far as I'm concerned, you don't need. You don't need an entire history lesson of this, and they went through that, and they did this. It'd be nice if you actually had shit where you could read it and go, oh, okay, that's what happens during a near-death experience. That's why we have them. Okay? But here's another thing. Here in Western civilization, where Christian is the predominant faith and religion, most people have a Christian near-death experience, or a biblical, where you'll see Jesus, God, angels, you'll go to hell, or there'll be demons or stuff like that. Where in the an area where it's Islamic, you're going to have an Islamic experience, or a Hindu experience, or a Buddhist experience. Okay? So, that doesn't really jive. Of course, Christians will tell you, well, that's because they're being deceived by the devil. And once again, prove it. Okay? Prove that. Okay? So I just wanted to make this video to talk about near-death experiences and how it doesn't prove. If Christians wanted to prove that Christianity is real and that hell's real and that heaven's real, it doesn't prove that. Okay? All it proves is that there's something that can be, pretty awesome or pretty terrifying when you die. And nobody knows why that happens, okay? Weird shit, okay? None of us really know. I hope that I'm talking here and I'm thinking, am I rambling? But, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. If you had a near-death experience, let me know. I remember when I was younger, I had a couple weird episodes. I had a dad who was good at yelling and yelling and yelling, and as a little kid, I remember I would be in, like, my bedroom, and he would be yelling at me, and everything would seem to go kind of far away. Okay? Because it was a traumatic, I just thought of that. It was a traumatic event for a child to be yelled at by this guy. And it would seem like everything in front of me just kind of backed up. It was weird. It was a weird kind of just, way of, I don't know but that was my brain doing that, my consciousness doing that. And I can't explain that. I saw one where a boy was told to sit outside the classroom because he was being disruptive, and he had this experience of where he wanted to be with his friends, and he was out of his body and he was with his friends. But when he looked out the window on the door in the classroom, he saw himself looking in. And somebody said he wants to come in, and the teacher told a kid to go over there and let him in. And once the kid went over, before the kid opened the door, he was back in his body, and the kid let him in. So, yeah, none of us really know. And it'd be nice if one of these religious books would actually let us know what's going on, instead of all of this shit hanging in the air where we don't have a clue. Science is working on it, which is good. I'd like to know because it does interest me. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Right now I'm probably going to come out with with more. But let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. Don't subscribe. I want to thank those who subscribed. I mean, the thing with me is I'm not a bells and whistles type of guy. There are people that have a better production and all that stuff, and I'm thinking of trying. I want to get into more maybe deep shit, but that takes some time. This here was a kind of an undertaking for me, but I'm going to come out with more of these, and that's all I got. So.